northern Nigerians are ordering Tinubu, the Nigerian presidency, to follow suit in recognizing Palestinian as a state. That the last time this was done by the Nigerian government was the same year Nigeria joined the IOSU, Islamic Organization countries, by Babangida. In 1988, when Nigeria joined the IOCs, Nigeria also recognized Palestine as a state. But here we are today, fast forward about 37 years later, wherein we're having the Northerners, okay, pushing out their sentiment for an Islamic nation that Tinubu must recognize, all right, officially the state of Palestine. As it stands today, Nigeria supposedly is a secular state, but in the deeds and the actions of this country, it is apparent to me that Nigeria is an Islamic state, ruled for Islamic interests, internally and of course globally. But the hypocrisy that I have issue with is the common Hausa Fulani man is right there on the social media, okay, defending the establishment and the creation of Palestine because they feel that they are Muslims and they are brotherhood, they must love themselves. But at the same time, they will not come out, speak in favor of the establishment of the Yoruba nation or the Biafran nation. You see, the creation, the contraption of Nigeria is done for the Muslim interest and Muslim interest alone. So if you are a Christian living in Nigeria, well, your faith is at risk because as it stands, in the next 40 years, Nigeria might totally be Islamized. If by that time the Christians do not rise up, the Christians do not speak up, just as the Christians in the United States of America today, United Kingdom, in so many other countries are speaking up. Yes. And by the way, don't give me that crap that, okay, why is Canada not speaking to the issue of the Nigerian people? The problem is the Nigerian Christians, or should I say the Nigerian Christian leaders, are largely cowards. They've all been both. They are just mere transactional leaders. Alright? So, into the hypocrisy. Because I find this very thought-provoking. I read the comment of Bashir Ahmad, you know, the Palestine apologist who worked closely with Buhari. And I know I'm still looking on the reactions of Isa Pantani, the emirs, the sultans. I'm still waiting on their, their reactions. I mean, if they want to have such reactions, they should equally be fair in their morality by identifying with the Biafrans. Because this same Bashir Ahmed was the same guy who said anybody that sympathizes or pray for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is a lover of Israel. We know that the Igbos, the Southeasterners, as they are popularly called in Nigeria, even in Africa by large, are the black Jews. Alright? Whether their ancestral connectivity is still contested, that is by the way. But we know that the love they have for Israel is undeniable. So for that reason, when they feel that Palestine today has gotten its freedom and they are celebrating it, they are calling the Nigerian government to identify with it because the Palestinians have always fought against the Israelis. They never wanted to be under the political hegemony of the Israel. Now the Bashir Ahmeds and his co-travelers are calling on Nigeria to do that. Then they should equally do the same for the Biafran struggle. Well, because they know that these guys, if they leave, it is like they have taken their blood, the blood that is passing the oxygen in their vein. If the Biafra leaves, as a matter of time, they will collapse. And this is why we keep saying that Nigeria is built on inequality, injustice, and unfairness. Nigeria was supposed to be built on the shoulders of three you know, ethnic tribes. But in this instance, it is basically built on two ethnic tribes. The third tribe just sits aloof at the top and eating all the largesse. We must look at these things holistically. And yes, why the cry for Biafra must continue, but for me, I think the dynamics must change. This time they must do it diplomatically and they must do it through dialogue. Yes. Earlier today, I made a content about state police. I made a content that some federal government, federal representatives in Plateau State are saying that anything that has to do with state police creation in that amendment of the constitution will not hold, citing the reasons that the Nigerian government or the Nigerian state is not a ripe, not a matured. I mean, for how long? The same people who do not want the Nigerian Southerners, the Middle Belters, to have their own freedom through state policing will at the same or on the other hand go out there and jubilate on behalf of Palestine. But we know where they side and who the United States of America will queue behind. We know. Because so many of these states that are somehow identifying with Palestine, okay, it is either they are seeking for the Muslim vote, okay, sympathy. That's basically what they are looking for. Because if you go to UK now, the Labour Party will be having an election in coming months, and we know our sister Kemi Badenoch has spoken against this Palestine state of creation because she has said that the United States or the United Kingdom is a Christian-based state, and the Palestine or the Hamas or whatever affiliation they have amongst themselves has been connected to terrorism. That it's abhorrent, that it's an affront to the United Kingdom moral code to identify with a terrorist. Yes, I am equally waiting to see if Finland will identify, if they will pronounce Palestine. I am waiting. I am watching closely. Maybe Alex Storr will come out and say he identifies with Palestine. Because right here in Africa, we have something that is very similar. Yes. One of the reasons why the Biafrans wants to leave is because they know that in the coming years, that Islam jihad is extending and might just, override their states and region. And this is why they are so hell-bent. Unfortunately for the Yorubas have been polarized on the religious basis. If you take a look at the Nigerian family, the Yoruba family, you will find one or two Muslims there, Christians. So they have been polarized. So they would find it hard to connect to one vision and mission. But that is not the case for the Southeast. That is not the case. So if the Southeast have been clamoring since the 60s to have a state wherein they can rule themselves, they can implement what we call total self-determination and self-rule, then why shouldn't the Canada, Israel indeed, why can't the United States of America, why can't the United Kingdom, why can't they support them? Could it be because they are blacks, or could it be because the United Kingdom indirectly is ruling above the country? Which I think that is the case. Because I know for United Kingdom, for Paris, which is France, to have recognized the state, definitely they have interest, just as the Nigerian government since 1960s, or should I say since 1950s, have always been a vassal state for the United Kingdom. This is an unfortunate, situation we find ourselves. So the point is, when you look at the endorsement, the national funding, or should I say the national gift aids the Nigerian government has been doing in the last 6 to 7 years, then you must understand that the Nigerian president, since 7 years ago, had an agenda when they donated $1 million to Afghanistan, if I'm not mistaken. They donated $1 million, is that 1 million or $1 billion. Either ways, they donate such amount of money to Afghanistan, A state that we know will kill, destroy anything relating to Christianity. And that was done without the consent, without regard for Christians who are living, who are existing in Nigeria. But here we are today. A guy named Bashir Ahmad has requested for the Nigeria state to identify Palestine again, and yet there is not one single backlash, not one single rebuttal, not one single, rejection and pushback from our southern governors, from our southern senators, from our southern reps. And this is why I keep saying that the southern leaders, with their pastors included, are all sellouts. But I would like it or not. Because my question is, if your candidate, my principal Obi, was the president, will he identify with Palestine? These are more reasons why the North will do everything to ensure that Obi does not get there. Obi literally went to the Vatican City to witness, the selection of the new papacy. So the North have seen this. They don't want God. These guys, we just have to come together, because everything poses our life, our faith, our belief, poses it at risk. I'm telling you, it poses our life, our businesses, our faith, our food, nature. It poses everything at risk. And as a matter of urgency, we need to rise, because we know that the United Kingdom will not rise to defend the Nigerian Christians. The best thing they will do is take it to the paper and say, oh, find some people. Why are they not calling for the cessation of the majority, Christian South Nigeria? Like they should be on their own. But we know the agenda. They want to keep us subservient. They want to ensure that we remain the subject of the Northern Hausa Fulanese marauders. But that, for me, will end very soon. Thank you. Constitutional alteration will today be considered by Benjamin Kalu. Today we are going to have the final review of the Constitution and what will be the new additions or subtraction the Nigerian Constitution will have. But here's my problem. There are two key elements out of these amendments that are causing controversies. One is the state police. As you have it on my screen, the Federal House of Rep of Pashkin in Plateau State has said that Benjamin Kalu must not push for state police. That state policing will not solve the issue of insecurity in Plateau State. That's one. The second one is the Southwesterners, or shall I say, Lagosians to be particular, are clamoring against the indigenization bill. We all understand that some few weeks ago, when the conversation about the constitutional amendment alterations on this indigenization bill, that people can claim to indigene of being a state if they have spent some amount of money or they have used maybe 20 years thereabout in a particular place. That also generated a lot of controversies. But before we delve about the indigenization bill, let's look on this state policing issue, because for me, I think that is more critical. All right. Now, on the issue of state policing, this same House of Rep guy, whose constituency is constantly being attacked, all right, because he's a Fulani man, probably he has cattle he rears or grazes. He has said that the state policing is a initiative that the Nigerian states is not yet matured for. I mean, how many people have been killed since 2010, 2011 into today? Because some Fulani herders are running rampage, running mad, and they seems to be uncontrollable, because these guys have guns that other people do not have. How many communities have been displaced in that middle belt? In fact, so many communities have been renamed to names that were never related to such areas. In a situation where we have the state policing, I am damn sure that these people who are the invaders, okay, rightly put, the Fulani elders invading people, erasing people's ancestral history, wouldn't have happened. So what exactly is this House of Rep? What is he defending? Why is he against the police? Because I know there is no any common sense Nigerian that will come out and speak against the police if he doesn't have a sinister agenda. I mean, it's clear for us now that the North are standing.
The Fulani man favors his cow than a human being. That's the mentality. He doesn't have land, he doesn't have everything. He thinks is his cow. So to him, when you kill his cow, it's like you've killed him. And in his own kind of ideas, he thinks taking revenge on humans. And that's why those are the issues we're saying. Now, what happens? We have a lot of youths from the native, both the Fulani have criminals that are youths that are criminals. The natives have youths that are criminal. Now, what they do is that those guys work together. We have the natives that also have their headers. They have animals with the Fulanis. The native criminals, youths, one rustle their own fellow native cows and give it to the Fulani criminals. Those ones will go and sell, or the Fulani criminals will go and rustle and give these ones to go and sell. So it is a business. That is what they are doing from within. And the issue is that, yes, once you do this, these guys are going to come to want to take revenge, because the Fulani man thinks once you take his eye, it's like you are killing him. He's coming. They will run away. When they run away, who gets killed? Women and children and elderly. So you see, it is, and then now bitterness has come into the issues. Now it has become a ting tong. And because we try as much of what they do normally is, once they see where here is defended, they look for any isolated village and just attack it. As a revenge. The idea is that they've killed somebody.
Into some studies even more. My issue with this is the constitutional aspect. I think once eligible, regardless of the zone you are from, you are entitled to run for president if you feel qualified, or vice president. That's point one. So does that infringe on the constitutional right of a candidate or a citizen to participate in a democracy? Now, Mr. Speaker, this is also important because Honorable Clement's point about tackling an injustice is true. It is quite clear to those that want to know that as long as certain people from certain area in this country do not have the equal opportunity or do not feel what it is to be president, there will continue to be this mistrust and a sense of injustice. That is without a doubt. And while democracy is fair, it's simply the best option we have, but not the fairest. So there are certain regions that by population are at an advantage. So while not asking we discard this, I think it needs to take a lot of introspection. Maya Born over there made a point. If you take this to the North Central, sir, who will it be for? Is it the Nupe people, the brilliant Ibibio people, the Igala people? In my little experience in Nigeria, whenever you do this, every tribe in every state will also come out and say it's their time. Merit prevails, sir. I think part of the reason why this sense of injustice continues to go on is because of the failure of governance, the failure of social equity. So, Mr. Speaker, I implore that we do not set a dangerous precedent and put it in the Constitution without due diligence, which I'm sure the Constitutional Review Committee will do so. But while it tackles injustice, I must agree with the previous speaker. This could really set us back. And finally, unfortunately, we are but human beings. What happens in the event of death? May God bless the soul of President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, but I guess he passed away at a time when it was quote-unquote the time of the North. And the vice president comes in. Is it actually fair to ask a vice president to step down in the event of the unfortunate occurring? I think we should still adhere to good governance
Okay.
and provide our people.
Honorable
Thank you so much.
Oshaba. Thank you, Honorable Oshaba.